Well, welcome to another great episode of Great Workday, a podcast interview that's all about gaining more joy and better results in the workplace. We're discussing today, is work-life balance a load of old rubbish? Can we really have it all? And what does it look like for the average family? It's my absolute pleasure to introduce to you our guest today, Mark Campbell, who's a family man who brings to the call 20 years of experience in the skilled trades and construction industry and an abundance of understanding of the challenges that people face without the skills they need to grow, especially in skilled trades and in high-profile corporate careers, experiencing it with his family firsthand. Dedicated to the beauty of the outdoors, his family, and an attitude of levity and gratitude to all situations. Welcome, Mark. It's a thrill to have you here on the call today.
Oh, Ella, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that. Any chance I can to spend some time with you is always great. So let's get to it and fire away. I'm looking forward to today.
Well, let's get right into it then, Mark. So Simon Sinek, as you know, big fan of Simon Sinek, he says that work and personal life should not be opposing, as work is more than just the money that we make. Can you tell me what that means for you, Mark?
Well, it's you know what, work can be. It's a relationship in your life, right? It's one of those ones where it can be out of balance sometimes. It can be one-sided, the other sided. But we tend to work for our financial rewards, and that's fine and well. But at some point in time, you have to realize that you're more than your work. Your family and whatnot, your priorities are set. Now, some people will set that as a priority. They want to see the big succession, and that's fine and well. But other people tend to prioritize their families and whatnot. And for us, financial success is certainly one aspect of what we've accomplished thus far, but we've also had the ability to kind of have a viewpoint where family comes first, and we've gone in that kind of roller coaster where one's been out of balance and the other one's kind of been there to reel it in. But we're a strong core, and so we feel that's family first, and it's work for your life. Don't live for your work is kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I love that phrase. Say it again, Mark. That's really important.
Yeah, no, it's work to live, don't live to work. It's just it echoes with us and certainly is amplified with our experiences.
100%. And thank you for sharing that. And that's a great quote. You heard it here first. Mark Campbell.
Yeah, no, I think that one's been around.
But it's a great quote and it's really important. And you come by this honestly because while that has been true in your value system, your family, it's not always been your experience, has it?
No. Very fortunate. My wife has had the big corporate career, and she certainly is an individual who succeeds by sheer will and sheer just drive and determination, and does in a brilliantly kind way. And a shout out to my wife Megan. I love her with all my heart. And so she had that, but the relationship was one-sided towards the end. It was very much up at 5 a.m. to finish off the previous night's emails and rush to get our daughter out the door and then back to work, and kind of miss that time in the weekends. And it was never about her wanting that. She wanted the balance. And so I think when we realized the balance had gone to one-sided, we sat down and we started having conversations about next steps and what can we do. And she certainly was, she was there with us, and we do things as a core and together, and there was out of balance. And it's hard. It certainly changes a lot of your perspective, and a lot of your timelines is dedicated to different things that you kind of wish were more family oriented. And that was our experience. So yeah, we've been there where it's been a little too far to one side for my wife, and we're fortunate that we've come out of that, and it gives you a fresh perspective on what's important to you.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you're on the other side of that. And you mentioned earlier that it is a roller coaster. It wasn't just a decision and everything changed overnight.
No.
You had to go through a series of physical ailments, stress, missing out on quality time, and like you say, that rush factor. And we all know how your day starts is how the rest of the day goes as well. And if you're having to get up at 5 a.m., then you're having to go to bed earlier. What was the real impact on your family that when she rose to this wonderful position that had this huge impact?
Yeah, no, it was huge. I mean, like you say, you can't. When my wife went back early for this career, and from maternity leave, and I took over the last little bit of it, and so you can't get that time back. Like those hours on the weekend she would dedicate to, and those hours in the evening, and it took its toll. And but like you say, you're not just going to say all of a sudden stop. I'm not working this job anymore. It's time to move on, and that's just like a snap of a fingers. No, we sat back and had some conversations that were tough ones. Like, yeah, like, we love you, and we're always solid, and that's amazing. But we, she knew it, and it was just a matter of finding the right situation. But it took time. It certainly took time, and I think that's one thing that you kind of have to put the lens of it's not going to happen right now. You have to have patience, and you have to, as much as I can have. But no, it certainly wasn't. It wasn't hard to the point where you're like, in a bad space. It's just something that you don't want to deal with. Like if life throws you enough curveballs as it is, when one thing is taking up the majority of your time, you kind of want to wrench that back in, and it just takes time. And certainly, yeah, illness, tiredness, exhaustion, one person going in one direction, the other person going in the other. It wasn't fluid for us, and we were always, had our moments that were amazing. I wanted more of those. That's all. And and
Right.
and we found that, and it was a real realization on both sides that like my wife knew, like, okay, this isn't sustainable. Like this is,
Mhm.
I want my daughter and my husband time and all these things, and that relationship was one that we were fortunate that came when a time came. It changed, but it took, yeah, the better part of 2 years.
Yeah, that's hard. 2 years is a
Mm,
long time, isn't it? And
mm,
thank goodness, as a family unit, you had
mhm.
that self-awareness of, "Stop, we miss each other. What can we do to fix this?" Versus that assumption that this is
Mhm.
what happens. And
Yeah.
and and Mark, you've had higher positions, and you're in a higher position now as Megan is. Do you think there's a certain expectation as you rise above the ranks that you spend more time at work and less time on the things that you value, whether it's family, your hobbies, or just setting around the world? What do you think
See,
about
that's a
that?
fantastic question, and I've thought about this one because we spoke about this briefly before, and I
Mhm.
think it really is based on the corporate sphere you're in.
Right.
Some places want more out of you. It's a higher pace in certain geographical regions, maybe, and there's aspects to that. But I mean, with any rise in title and in salary, especially in salary, because we're paying you to do this, and that's the why you do the bigger jobs, the bigger corporate worlds. And so, there's certainly some corporations that will demand that of you, and they want that, and it's now, and then big clients and all that. But then uh, with the changing of the tide, you find the places that no, we believe in work-life balance, and it's not just a catchphrase; it's more of an action. We're going to
Yes.
make sure that you're with your family. We're going to make sure that these things, because you've seen them, the studies out there show a more productive person is a person who's a happier person who's got a better balance in their life. and
Right.
and it's certainly the lens that we've had with it. Yeah, absolutely, there are places and areas that demand more, but then there's also companies that are very aware of that importance to the individual. And I think going back to my wife's new position, she's gone on, she's climbed the ladder again, which is incredible at her age. But it's now in a different sphere, and it's now in a place where there's a different lens as to what the value of that is. So we're very fortunate that
Right.
it's worked out for us in that regard. But there's places that, no, now, like, what have you done for me lately? And that's just the way it is. And
Right.
some people value that, they want that, and other people just say, no, I need to step back and reorganize.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right, that's the key, isn't it? It's stepping back. What are our values? What
Mhm.
makes us happy? How much time do we wanna spend on those things, and how can you
Yeah.
create it? Because I think we sometimes, Mark, tell me if you agree with this, we forget that we get to choose what job we're going to do.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that just the society as a whole kind of
Yeah.
misses the choices you have in front of you.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be easy. It certainly doesn't mean it's going to happen right now, but you have the ability to make the tough decisions in your life. And you know what? Actions are much harder than sometimes we expect.
Yeah.
But with that being said, make them. If there's a change needed, you have the ability to do it. It's just finding the will to do it.
and knowing that it's out there too,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you and I, Mark, have been chatting now for about 2 years, and
Hmm.
2 years ago, had I told you it's okay because this situation's coming, if I flew in from the future and said, "Future Ella here, I've got some great news. This is where you're going to be living. This is what you're going to be doing. This is how you're going to be doing it." Would you believe me, Mark?
I would have looked at you and said, I knew we were going to be friends from the minute I met you. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. I would have said for sure. Is there any other information you can give me that might be necessary? I could use some. No, you know, you hope for it. We've always wanted, no, just a little on us. We're in Northern Ontario now. We've always wanted the northern lifestyle. It is different. It's slower. It's a little more peaceful, and you know, it's not as fast paced. You don't have 100 restaurants at your fingertips, but you have the places that you choose to be. And Northern Ontario is certain for us. So when the opportunity came up, it was, I wish you would have told me this 2 years ago. I would have saved a lot. But no, when the opportunity came about, it was incredible for us, and it was you're still having the conversations. We loved our home. We loved where we were.
Yeah.
I shed a lot of tears, and I said goodbye to my neighbors recently, and like, that was a heartstrings puller right there. But no, I mean, yeah, I wish you would have told me that, and I probably would have said fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You
Because we
know,
don't
because
always
I
know
think
what's
I'm
coming
innately
forward.
positive, and I think the potential is out there. But it's you're gonna slide into home face first to get there, but that's okay. I'll
Yeah.
get there. We'll get
Because
there.
there's comfort levels, isn't there, in our
Yeah.
trauma or whatever we're facing. We think this is just the way it is. This is
Hmm.
We have to suck it up. And some generations, I know my generation, Mark, we were taught roll your sleeves up, get some hard work. This is
That's
what
it.
life's all about. But then as we earn more money, should it be about working smarter because we've got more knowledge, or harder and longer? That's the bigger question, isn't it? And the fact that you guys actually designed what you'd like your life to be, and rather than
Mhm.
it being a hope and a prayer, you actually took some massive action, which, for those out there listening, it is possible. You can have whatever balance looks like to you, whether that's 9 till 5, 5 till 3, 5 till 8, doing your hobbies, going traveling, having your family. You really can
Mhm.
have it all. And it's not a load of rubbish. You just got to design it and get out of the hope.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It's gonna be hard. It's not just
Yeah.
gonna you're not just gonna get what you want. But if you make the little sacrifices, those little sacrifices, that little snowball turns into an avalanche in a matter of time. And that
Yes.
time comes. And, you know, there's times where Megan and I were like, I don't think we're ever going to get this place or this camp or this lifestyle. But we made sacrifices. Okay, we're not going to go for dinner tonight. Maybe we do this here, do that there. And over time, it builds. And all of a sudden, you're like, wow, we can do this. This is real. Like, we're here. And
Right.
let's start looking and doing these exciting things that kind of, we did those sacrifices to make that. And yeah, and like you say, it's design, it's a plan, it's an action,
Yes.
and it's not always going to be the smoothest, but
No.
just do it. Like literally, I love the Nike symbol. Just do it. It's simple, but it's very true.
You're not
Like,
affiliated with
no,
Nike,
no,
just
we're
to put
not
that
there.
out there as
Sorry,
a
it's
bit of a
innocent
disclaimer.
there.
Although we are open to affiliations. But
Sponsorship at the end.
Mark, you're absolutely right. It's all about life by design. It
Mm,
truly is. And to give the listeners a bit of background here, I remember having a conversation with you, Mark, and I said, how will you know when you've made it? So through your goals that you want to, and you said,
mm.
I'm going to be in the car with my dog, with my sunglasses on, going to the cottage. You remember our conversation?
You know what? I remember that. I do remember that vividly because it's funny. It's a couple other conversations we had when we first take over. I think it happened a couple times where my dog's head was out the truck window, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is just, I'm done. It's not a sense of like, oh, I mean, it's just a sense of just
Yeah, I'm here.
just
I'm where I'm meant to be.
breathe.
I'm living
This is
my
where
values.
we directed our ship to when we got there.
Yeah. I'm so happy. So happy you did. And thank you for sharing your journey. And I hope those
No.
words of wisdom are hitting someone out there who's thinking there's no such thing as work-life balance. You can have it all. You simply got to design it. Well,
Mm.
Mark, I'm going to ask you this one last question before we wrap up here. Um, what is the one thing that you wish that you were taught in your school days that would have helped you fast track this joy that you now have in your work-life balance?
Oh, I wish there was a life program back in high school, like a how it is. Like here, you those credit cards waiting for your university, don't get those. Get
Mm.
one when you're younger and learn financial importance. Also, too, there's more careers than just what your guidance counselor is telling you. There's a whole world out there. Look into everything. Like there's trades, there's all these jobs that you never really know, and just I think just a lesson on opening your eyes, I suppose, to life. And if you can do that a little bit earlier, and maybe find a little more direction, and it make life a lot easier. Because I think I went to university with my head in the clouds and no real direction, and then had to make a plan and had to make another plan, and then 5 plans later I met Megan, and here we are. Yeah. Or maybe
And
somebody could just say, listen, you're gonna meet this girl named Megan, don't worry about it. That's it. So there, maybe that would
well,
work.
there you go.
I
You've
could have
heard it here
used you a long
first.
time ago,
Everyone
Ella.
needs to meet a Megan. That's
Yeah.
Megan. If you're listening, we love you. But I'm so glad that you helped steer the ship.
Absolutely.
I'm
She's
so glad.
upstairs in her office, so
Oh, I
I'm
hope you can hear
downstairs.
me, Megan.
Yeah.
I hope I get to meet her one day. Mark, it's
100%
been
will,
an
definitely.
absolute pleasure, as always, to talk to you. But thank you
Yes.
so much for contributing to our podcast today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ella, back at you. Everything in the same. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being on your radar. Thank you.
Oh, always. And thank you for our listeners for joining us in this episode of Great Workday, a podcast that's all about gaining more of that joy and better results in the workplace. And I really hope you've enjoyed the conversation between me and Mark today, and that you'll check out how we can possibly help you grow your career, your confidence, your capabilities, and inspirational skills for you to have a great workday every single day. And to listen to another episode of Great Workday, simply subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and Anchor. I'm pretty impressed that I've remembered all that. Mark, thanks again.
Hey,
and we'll see you on the next episode.
As always, thanks for everything. All the best. Cheers. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.